Right. All right. Okay. I think we're live. Hey. Long time no see. I know I haven't done a live stream in a little over a week. Sorry about that, but I'm back. And that's good, I think. I hope. We're going to have a good class. We're going to talk about English writing. We're going to talk about some other things related to using software to improve your English writing. And we'll be focusing on, of course, questions that you may have about whatever. About pronunciation, about culture, about grammar, about idioms, about phrases, whatever it may be. I will do my best to answer as many questions as I can, as I usually do. So thanks for joining. It's good to have you guys here. We'll wait a few minutes before we get started with the main thing. But in the meantime, let's see. Yes, if you haven't already, I would deeply appreciate it if you could just hit the like button, make it go from gray to blue. It's a small thing, but it really, really helps out the channel because it tells YouTube or Facebook, hey, there's a thing happening here. Or Twitch if you're watching on Twitch. Or any others? Well, maybe not for now. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe so that you can see future live streams. You'll get a notification. I think there's a bell there you can hit to make sure you get notifications. And there's a sale on my courses happening now, so if you click on the link in the description, I believe it's might be the first or second link in the description, you can get that discount. Full courses about thinking in English, grammar, pronunciation, and so on. So, welcome. Phoenix is here. Hello, Phoenix. Reader TM is here. Welcome. Good to have you. We'll just wait a few minutes before we get into the main thing. We're going to be talking about writing, which is very exciting. I'm excited about that. Let's see what happened recently. I recently went to Ohio to visit my family. I tried to do a live stream from there, but it didn't work out, so I had to give up. And I'm opening a can of iced coffee. Very important. Hello, Melly. Hello. Good to have you here. And when I was there, I played golf with my 82-year-old grandfather. And my 82-year-old grandfather defeated me in golf quite easily. Like by a lot. Not a little bit. A lot. And so now I feel very, motivated to improve my golf skills. So that next time I play my grandfather, maybe when he's 84 years old, I can defeat him. That's my goal. My new goal, my number one goal in life, is to be better at golf. That's all I care about. Lolly Lolly's here. Cow Silver is here. Paolo is here. And Damon Preet, maybe, is here as well. Good to have everybody here. That is fantastic. Hope everyone is having a good week and has some interesting plans, at least for the weekend. Do I have interesting plans for the weekend? What am I going to do? I think I'm going to go get sushi somewhere. This is just what I hear. I rarely plan my weekends. I always just sort of hear what my plans are. What are we doing this weekend? Oh, okay, cool. All right, whatever. I think I'm going to have a barbecue at my house this weekend. Maybe not. I could be wrong. Who knows? Okay, guys, as I usually say, if you have questions about anything, whatever it is, culture, grammar, pronunciation, think about the things that you struggle with and ask questions. I'll do my best to answer those questions, and then other people can benefit from your questions, because it's very likely that if one person has a question about something, someone else who is watching now or will watch later may have the same question, and they will be glad to have an answer to that question. Then they can think of a different question to ask, right? So it works. It works for everybody. Naba is here. Damon Preet. I always confuse to say popularity. Hello, Ray. The pronunciation of this one is popu. It's a U sound there. So it looks like it could be popularity, right? Papa, but it's not papa. It's popu, 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 pa-pew, pew. It's like a Y-O-U there. U, pew, pew. Popu, and then larity or larity. Now, what's the difference between the two things I just said? Larity is sort of like a light D sound, and larity is a clear T sound. You can say it either way. I would say that most native English speakers are going to say larity, larity. Notice that very light sound. It's not a hard D sound. It's not larity. That's too hard. Larity. So the whole word again, popularity, 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 popularity. That's how you say it. Good question. I am a teacher of English. I would like to know what equipment you use to get this good sound quality. Well, Raid, that's kind of my secret, isn't it? I can't tell you. It's a secret. No. Well, I can tell you a couple things. It's not a webcam. That's very important. This is a webcam, right? This is a webcam. This is for things like Zoom calls, right? Basic back and forth conversations on the internet. This is a mirrorless digital camera. I use the Lumix mirrorless digital camera. I like it because it's a little smaller. It's a micro four thirds. And then for this, the microphone is just, well, you could use any microphone, I think, probably. But what I like about this one is that it's on an arm, and so it can easily go up and down and can move around like that. So I can get it out of the way. So that's nice to have. And then the software that I use is one that I really, really like. I recommend it to almost anybody who asks me this question. It is called Ecamm Live. That's what it's called, Ecamm Live. It's cool because you can record a lot of different things at the same time. And you can stream to multiple platforms. You can not stream. You can record locally. Anyway, it's cool. I really like it. I really like it. So I hope that answers your question. So, and oh, also very important, lights. You gotta have a good lighting setup. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights plus 2 more, 6, 7 lights. So actually I have 7 lights, and none of them are lights that are house lights, you know, like the ceiling light is there, it's off. And there's a normal light over there, it's off. I don't use any normal lights. You have to use good lights that are, we call them diffuse lights, so or diffusion lights. And actually one of the lights has a pillowcase over it because you want the light to be softer. If you have a hard light on you, then what happens is you get this. So is anyone else interested in this? Is this boring? All right, let me just explain a little bit about how to do a setup, because it is something that I'm very interested in. I love doing the setup stuff. So if you notice, there is, on this side of my face, it's a little darker. On this side of my face, it's a little lighter, right? That's intentional. If all of the lights are facing you directly, then you're going to get a very flat sort of face. It's going to look very flat, and it's going to blend into the background, right? So what you want to do is you want to have lights set up so that you have one more on the other side and one less on the other side. And sometimes you want to have a light coming in from the side, right? Right now I don't have a light coming in from the side. So there's one at this angle, one at this angle, and then one directly ahead, but more on this side and very little on this side. That's what you want, because it gives a little bit more depth, right? when you have that flat lighting, you can just tell and it doesn't look as professional. So the lighting thing takes care of most of your problems. If I were to switch to this webcam, it would still look a little okay, pretty okay, right? And you also want to make sure that the lights are very white lights, because a lot of times people use yellow lights and it's not good. It just looks, it's hard to correct later if you edit it, if you're not just streaming, right? So you want to use white lights, and you can get them for, I don't know, $30 on Amazon. They're not that expensive. And then there's so many different cameras you can use, but it has to be a camera that can connect to your computer so that you can record on your computer, right? You want to be able to see on your computer what you're recording. So you have the sound and the video coming onto your computer. I use Ecamm Live because it makes that very easy, and you can also manage, for example, comments. You can pop up a comment, for example, from Ray very easily. So it's pretty cool. I like it. It's professional. And also very cool, you can record on your computer and stream at the same time. So right now, I'm streaming on YouTube, Facebook, maybe Twitch, maybe Periscope. But also, the video is recording at high quality on my computer. And so why would I do that? Well, a lot of people have asked me before, hey, can you, sometimes I miss live streams. I wish I had seen some questions people ask, but I don't have time to watch the whole thing. Can you just cut out the questions? Yeah, that makes that easy. So I have it on my computer. I would cut out the questions and answers and put them on the separate channel. You can check that out if you want. It's Cloud English, or English Lessons by Cloud English is what that channel is called. It's in the recommended side on the Cloud English YouTube channel. And so that makes the whole process easier, right? I can plan, then I just sit down and push go. The last thing, I use something called a Stream Deck. A Stream Deck is a device. I don't know if I can show you this thing. Can I show you this thing? Let me try. I don't know if it will stretch this long. Okay, I think I might be able to. Okay, see this? This is called a Stream Deck. It's a physical device with buttons. But depending on what you're doing, you can change the buttons, right? So you can use it to record, see information, do actions that normally you'd have to look around and click through things to do. You can program those into simple buttons. You just push the button, and after you push the button, the thing happens. And you can do several actions. So I use it all the time to do multiple step actions. Push one button and 3 independent things happen that normally would take me a minute to do. Instead, it takes me 1 second. And actually, all of that stuff added together saves tons of time. So I know nobody cares about this. I know no one cares. But hopefully, for anyone who watches this later maybe who is interested, that's basically what I do. There's a lot more to it than that. It's not quite that simple, but that's the basic idea. Got to have good lights. An okay camera is good enough. And a microphone that's not a basic microphone is very important, because if it's a really low quality microphone, it hurts people's ears over time. Ray says, am I in China or in the US now? I am in the United States right now, currently in New York City. Yes, sir. Hey, Nectar's here. Hello. Thank you so much for answering my question. Another question, if you don't mind. Although I am a teacher of English, I still don't have that native-like level of fluency. Any tips? Well, that's a pretty broad question. I mean, there's so many different things to talk about there. If you don't have that native level of fluency and you want to get there, you have to develop the awareness to be able to hear the difference between yourself and native. But then you have to practice to the point where you get there, right? And that's I think it's called the last mile problem. And the last mile problem is when you're very good and you want to be basically native, where it's possible, but it's extremely difficult to get to that next level and takes tons and tons of speaking conversationally, having lots of friends who are native English speakers, watching all movies without subtitles, reading books all the time, right? Reading constantly, starting a YouTube channel, this sort of very high-level stuff that you can start doing is what you kind of have to do in order to get there and fix that last mile problem. Otherwise, you're in a situation where your environment is not right. You're in a situation where you want to be native, but you don't have any path to do it because your surroundings don't force you out of a comfort zone. Right? When you're in a comfort zone, it's very hard to improve in any way, but especially for the last mile problem. Okay? If you're watching any movies with subtitles and you're an English teacher, well, then you have to stop. If you're not reading books almost every day, well, then you have to start. You have to start, right? If you don't have daily conversational practice, not even corrections, conversational practice with a high-level English speaker or a native English speaker, you have to find one. You have to, right? If you don't have the awareness to be able to hear the difference between what you say and what a native English speaker says, if you can't notice what's different, you have to develop that awareness. So I know that sounds kind of tough, but it's the last mile problem. That's the hardest one. Sort of like if you play a video game and you get to a really high level, going from level 1 to level 2 is easy. Going from level 2 to level 3 is easy. It doesn't take much work. Going from level 99 to level 100 is the same distance, but it's much, much harder and takes way more work. So hopefully that answers your question. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. I would really appreciate that. Don't forget to subscribe. Also check out the courses, which are on sale, in the links in the description. I'm kind of in this mode constantly now, filming videos for courses right now. Right now I'm currently filming the prepositions course. It's very intense, but basically I sit here for 5 to 6 hours a day like this and talk to the camera. So at this point, it's uncomfortable for me not to be doing that. Right? When I'm outside for a walk, I'm thinking, where's the camera? I don't see a camera. I'm not sitting down. Something is wrong. It's weird. You get into this weird zone where it's the only thing that seems normal, right? And it's tiring. I mean, it's hard, but I also enjoy it. It's fun. So look out for those courses later this year. Prepositions course coming. And 8 other courses. I know it sounds crazy. 8 courses in the last half of the year. I know it's crazy. I know it sounds insane, but it's going to happen. It is going to happen. Okay. Lolly Lolly asks, due to and because of, please, how to use these 2 expressions. And we could say here instead, lolly lolly, how can I use these 2 expressions? All right. Or how do I? That would be okay too. Due to. Well, are they the same? Pretty much in terms of meaning, they're the same. They might be used a little bit differently in different situations. Due to is a little more formal sounding, and because of is a little more relaxed, generally speaking. So that's a main difference between them. While they have the same basic meaning, they have this variation in the way that they're used. Their connotation, we say, connotation. Due to feels formal. Okay? So when you hear an announcement, right? Then it's going to be probably due to. When you talk about causes in everyday life for things, then it's probably going to be, or more likely going to be, because of. So, recently, okay, I came back home from my hometown to New York. And I was sort of surprised at what I saw. Do you know what I saw? Well, I saw trees laying down over the road. Many trees had fallen down, branches everywhere. There had been a hurricane, or what you might know as a typhoon in New York. Knocked down many trees, many cars were destroyed. It's a mess. It's still a mess. They're still working, getting rid of the trees. So then a couple hours later after I got home, I got an announcement. There's a citywide announcement, sort of text message on my phone. And it said, due to due to the, I think it was due to the hurricane and the debris, maybe it was debris around the city, parking rules have been slightly adjusted. Okay, so then they released an announcement, and then there was a link that you clicked on, you look at that, and you read the announcement. Due to that. Okay. Now, we could say, due to this. We could put it at the end. That's fine too. For example, all parking regulations have been suspended due to the hurricane. So you could say it that way. It's an announcement from the city. It's kind of formal, right? Would a person ever say due to something? Ever? Yeah, sometimes. I mean, sometimes. If we want it to sound a little more formal, right? Due to what? Due to what? Oh, well, due, and then we often say due to the fact that. Okay, so we could say, for example, due to the fact that I haven't played golf in about 10 years, I am now fairly awful. And I was defeated by my 82-year-old grandfather. Okay. Now, is that too formal? Well, it's okay. Due to the fact. We often say due to the fact. Now, could I say because of the fact that I haven't played golf in about 10 years, I'm awful? Yeah, that's fine too, right? I would say when we're talking about that average sort of daily life stuff, it's more common to use because of, right? My grandpa beat me. He's 82 years old. He beat me, defeated me easily in golf over the weekend because I'm not that good, because I haven't played in 10 years. But there's an issue. You say, oh, you say because twice. That's weird. All right. So there maybe I could use due to give it a little bit of variation. Okay? My grandfather defeated me in golf over the weekend because I'm not that good, due to the fact that I haven't played golf in about 10 years. Okay, so there we have some variation, and that feels nice. That's a good way to use both in one sentence. So it gives you a little more flexibility when it comes to your syntax, right? Changing up the sentence structure, not using too many words too often. So that's generally the sense for due to and because of. I hope that answers your question, Lolly Lolly. It's a good one. It's a classic. If you guys have any others, make sure you leave them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and also, courses on sale. Check those out in the links in the description. Good one. Due to is formal, because of is casual, says Nectar Sweet. Yup. Yup. Uh-huh. Hey, I have encountered an expression which is as follows. A fair weather friend may give me more explanation about this expression. Yes. Absolutely. And then Phoenix asks, sir, I want to know which voice is better when we write business emails. Active or passive voice? Thanks. I like this question, Phoenix. I will answer that one after I answer Mohammed's question because it's a great question. And then Nectar Sweet asks, could you tell me what Exfelon means? Yes, I saw it from a mystery novel. Oh, what kind of novels are you reading? At least it doesn't just say felon. That's even more scary. You're welcome, Lolly Lolly. All right, so let's answer these questions in order, and then I have some thing I want to talk to you about. Sit down conversation. We need to talk. We have something. Okay. Mohammed says, I have encountered an expression which is as follows. And we could just remove the which is as follows part and just say, I have encountered an expression, colon. A fair weather friend. All right. Could you give me more explanation about this expression? Thank you in advance. In advance. Oh. Did you hear that, Kathy? In advance. Thank you in advance. Well, fair weather friend. This is pretty simple. A fair weather friend is one which is only there for you when times are good, but one, I should say who, is not necessarily there for you when times are bad. And I would say a perfect example of a fair weather friend is me. I'm a terrible friend, I think, in the way that people normally think of friend, right? Because I have some friends, and when they want to talk or have an interesting conversation or go for a walk, go golfing together, hang out, have some food, I'm there. Yes, absolutely. Let's do it. Especially an interesting conversation. If someone engages me in an interesting conversation, that's my favorite thing. To me, that is the meaning of friendship. To me. However, when they have some life problems and they want to talk and they want to tell me all their problems, I know that's the way that people usually define friendship. A friend is someone who helps you in tough times. Well, I would say, fair enough, people have different definitions. Now, I would help someone if they need help moving or something. They need me to help them do something. But when their times are tough and they need a shoulder to cry on, I'm just about the worst choice that you could make. Because I will listen as I'm looking at my phone and say things like, you know what? Look at the big picture. I mean, things aren't that bad. There are starving people in the world. You're so lucky. Yeah, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Or why don't you meditate more? You won't be so upset by this kind of thing. This wouldn't upset me, right? And I realize this is horrible, but this is the kind of friend I am. And sometimes this upsets my friends when they come to me. I say, you know what? Maybe it's better if you talk to someone else, because I won't say, oh yes, yeah, that's terrible. I will say something like, get over it. So I'm a fair weather friend. That's what a fair weather friend is. Fair weather is good weather. So when the clouds are gone and the sky is blue, here I am. Hey, friend. When the clouds are dark, when the weather is bad, I'm gone. Where's Luke? I don't know. He's gone. He's by himself or with another friend who isn't having a bad time. So I use myself as an example, but that's really what it means. A fair weather friend. It's fairly common. It's fairly common. All right. If you haven't already, guys, make sure you hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And also check out my full courses, full English courses in the links in the description if you haven't checked those out already. Why not? What's wrong with you? Check them out. All right. Good question. Let's see. What else do we have here? I said I was going to answer these questions in order, and I shall. I shall. Phoenix. And then Nectar. Phoenix Lung says, Sir, I want to know which voice is better when we write business emails, active voice or passive voice. Thanks. This is a good question. This is about writing. And we first have to clarify what is active voice, what is passive voice. Well, yes, we need to clarify that. Active voice is when we have the traditional sentence structure, subject, then we have the verb, and then we have the object. And the subject is the thing or the person that is doing the action, and the object is the thing or person that is somehow receiving the action, right? So, I gave it to her. Okay. So, all right, put aside the direct and indirect object thing for a second. Don't worry about that, right? But I'm the one doing the action, okay? And so, this is the sort of pattern that we use that we call active voice, which most people say is good. And then they say things like, it was given to her by me is bad. Passive voice. Don't use it. But think about what that is. It was given to her. Her is now putting the object of the verb first, right? The verb is still the same, kind of, but we're putting the object of the verb first, and then the subject of the verb, the one doing the action, comes last. By me. Given to her by me, right? And we could do a simpler sentence, right? We could say something like, she smashed the window. Active. The window was smashed by her. Okay. Now the question is that clear? I know you can't answer, but I want you to answer in your head, or just go like this or like this. If this is your answer, then leave a comment and let me know why it's not clear. Hopefully it's clear, right? She smashed the window. Active. The window was smashed by her. Passive. Okay. Now the question is, which voice should we use when writing emails? I would say the answer to the question is I can't give you a one or other answer. It's neither. It's both. You can't say you must always use active voice in emails. You must always use passive voice in emails. The answer to either is crazy, because then you're going to miss out on opportunities to express important things. And I'll use the window example because it's a good one. What do you want to focus on? Do you want to focus on the fact that the window was broken? Or do you want to focus on the fact that this lady is a window breaker? And the window, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It could be a window, it could be a door, it could be whatever. This lady's crazy. Well, it depends on what you want to focus on. So if I say, do this, not that, do that, not this, then I'm setting up a rule that's limiting your ability to communicate. So a better question would be, and Phoenix, I'm not saying you shouldn't ask the question. I'm just saying a better question would be something like this. How can I use active and passive voice to express myself clearly? And then my answer would be something like this. Use active voice when you really want to focus on the thing or the person that is doing the action, and that's important. And use passive voice, maybe, when you want to focus on what happened and what that thing happened to, and then the thing or the person that did that action, the doer of the action, is kind of unimportant. In which case, we can usually take out the subject completely. What? Take out the subject? Sure. Yes. We say, the window was broken. Just take out by her. We could. I mean, you can leave it in, right? The example I always say is the bank was robbed by 3 men. Are the 3 men important? If they're very important and the story is about them or the email is about them, I don't know why you're writing an email about 3 robbers, but whatever, then you say 3 men robbed the bank. They could have robbed a store. That's not so important. We're talking about the 3 men. The bank was robbed by 3 men. Okay, now the 3 men are kind of just a detail. If it were 4, if it were 2, we wouldn't really care. We're focusing on the bank. If we really don't care, who cares? Right? Then we just cut them out completely and we say the bank was robbed. The window was broken. So hopefully that makes it a little more clear. You never want to say, give me a rule that I can always use all the time in writing, because that is always going to restrict you and limit what you can say. And that's a problem. When you want to write well, when you want to speak well, you instead want to understand what's possible, what's correct, and then use whatever way that is to get your idea across to others clearly. And that should be your measurement for success. Success is, did I communicate well, whether it's active or passive? So that's my answer to your question. I'm sorry if it's not as simple as you would have liked. I wish the world were black and white. I wish I could say that good, that bad, but it is rarely the case. So it is a good question. I appreciate the question. If you haven't already, guys, make sure you hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And also check out my courses in the links in the description. They are on sale. So check out those full English courses. Okay. Phoenix, nice one. Nectar, I'm going to get to your question next. Luke, why are you always dressed in black? Nelly, That's a good question. What do you want to guess? Can I get a little bit of psychoanalysis from you, Nelly? I'd appreciate that. A little bit of analysis. Maybe I don't understand myself. Maybe I don't even know, right? So, maybe I don't even know why I do what I do. Help me, Nelly. I need a therapist. It's better than wearing red, though, right? I mean, can you imagine if I were wearing a red shirt? I think there's nothing worse than a red shirt. I think red shirts are the worst color of shirt. Just my opinion. All right. It's time for Nectar Sweet's question. Sound effect. Okay. Nectar Sweet says, could you tell me what Exfelon means? I saw it from a mystery novel. Yes, okay. So, a felon is someone who has done something illegal, has been caught, and went to jail probably for that. It comes from the word felony. A felony is a serious crime. Felony is a crime that you can go to jail for, right? To commit a felony. Now, it doesn't really focus on the jail part, right? Because it could be another kind of punishment. But usually when we talk about a felon, we're usually going to be talking about someone who spent time in jail or is in jail, right? Now, so they're being punished for their crime. If they're an ex-felon, that means they did go to jail, they were in jail, but they're not anymore. But maybe we want to know that about them, that's in their past. You can decide for yourself if you want to deal with ex-felons. Personally, I have several friends who are ex-felons, and they're great people. So that's my opinion. So an ex-felon is just someone who has done something illegal and spent time usually in jail for that. That's all it is. And when you see it in a novel, you're talking about usually for dramatic effect, some danger, or someone who's risky, or someone who might do something, someone who might steal something, someone who might kill someone, right? But it's usually exaggerated. Right? Ex-felon is a more general term. In real life, it's used very generally. Now, what is this X part? Well, actually, EX is a really important piece that we can put in front of a lot of words to talk about the last thing or the past thing, but not anymore. So you hear things like, my ex-boss. Okay, ex-boss. Is it your boss now? No, it was your boss. Okay, so you want to talk about that person? That's your ex-boss. My ex-husband, my ex-wife. That is the last person you were married to. Well, actually, it doesn't have to be the last person. Some people have 2 ex-wives or 2 ex-husbands or 3 or 4. So we could say my first ex and my second ex. Now, what if someone just says ex? My ex. Could that be ex-boss? No, if someone says my ex, just my ex, we usually use that to talk about ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, and it could also be ex-wife, ex-husband, right? We often say that expression. Oh yeah, I'm chatting with my ex. Maybe we're still friends. I'm chatting with my ex, and that could be probably boyfriend or girlfriend who maybe you're friends with now, but you're not currently dating anymore, right? So that's how it's usually used. Is it used for other things? Yeah. My ex-job, you could say it for things like that, but most often it's for people, right? Ex-felon, ex-fiance, ex-husband, ex-girlfriend, that sort of thing. And you'll hear it for a few other things as well. But to be clear, if it's by itself, then it always has to do with a romantic relationship, and it could be boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, husband, or wife. That's how it's used. Good question, Nectar. Good one. I think X comes from Latin, I believe. It's a Latin prefix. I could be wrong, but I'm probably not. That sounds so... No, I shouldn't say that. Here the black color symbolizes mourning. Yes, mourning, mourning, meaning I'm right. So that's right. That's exactly right. So Nellie, the psychotherapist, has analyzed my choice of shirt and noticed that I almost always wear black shirts because I am in mourning. Although each time I wear a black shirt, it's for a different thing. Today, I am mourning the fact that I didn't get a good parking spot. Yesterday I wore a black shirt too. Yesterday I was mourning the fact that my grandfather, who is 82, defeated me easily in golf. The day before I also wore a black shirt. I have a lot of black shirts. I have like 30 black shirts that look exactly like this. Not one black shirt. And that I was probably mourning maybe, I don't know, my coffee wasn't strong enough. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? I'm just joking around, Nelly. Don't take it too seriously. British or American English? Which or both do you recommend for business English? British English. I don't even know what that is. Never heard of it before. American English is the only English there is. There's only one kind of English, and it's American English. Nectar Sweet says, thank you, Luke. You're welcome. All right. So here's what we'll do. I want you to put your thinking caps on now, okay? Get ready to use your brains. I want you to think along with me for this part. It's very important. Nellie says, next time, please change the color. Wow. Wow. Okay, Mom. I will. Jeez. All right. So put on your thinking caps. It probably would surprise you how poor the writing is of almost every non-native English speaker and even many native English speakers. It always shocks me. I've met people who have really good English, non-native English speaker. Oh, your English is so good. And then I looked at their writing and I was shocked. What? It's the same person? The writing, this is the writing of a 3-year-old, but you talk so well. Right? It blows my mind how little people focus on writing. But if you send an email that sounds like you're a 3-year-old or has very amateur mistakes, how seriously will people take you? Someone who may give you a job interview may decide not to give you a job interview if you have basic mistakes in your writing. Certainly I will. I've had the opportunity to interview people and not chosen them because they were basic mistakes in their email, because it shows me, this person is not careful. They don't care. Really, they don't really care. They don't want to put the effort in, right? In the same way, if people say, oh, Luke, please give me some feedback on my writing. All right, once in a while. Okay. I look at it. Huh? You spelled so many words wrong. I'm not a... Right? It's like I'm a spell checker. You can correct a lot of this basic stuff on your own. If you present that kind of thing to someone to correct, they're going to spend their time doing basic corrections and won't have any time to really spend on making it good. So what I want to say is, this is what I want to talk about. You can fix a lot of things by yourself, and you should if you want people to take you seriously with your writing. You should. And it's not that hard. It's not as hard as you think. You just have to be careful. You have to care that it's good and not be lazy. Now, I'm not saying that will fix everything, but there are a couple things that you can keep in mind that I want to talk about and show you that you can use to make your writing better. And I want you to think along with me, because we're going to look at some writing, and I want you to look at it and think about what would make it better. But then I want you to have the same attitude when you look at your own writing. Don't just finish it and send it out. After you write it, look at it like it's someone else's. What can I do to make this more clear? Are there any basic mistakes? So, before we look at this, there's one thing I want to say. If you just read what you wrote out loud, you're going to find a lot of simple things that you can correct. So that's the first thing. Just write and then read it out loud to yourself. And then you'll find things that, oh my God, I can't believe I wrote it like that. Well, why is it? Well, why did I use the present tense? I should have used the past tense. Basic stuff. 2, there are tools that can fix a lot of the simple things. Not everything, but a lot of the simple things. One of those tools is Grammarly. So we're going to look at an example of a paragraph, and we're going to look at it in Grammarly. We're going to see, number one, how useful is Grammarly? Can it fix everything? Is it a magical tool? Number 2, if not, then what do we need to do to make our writing better? How can we begin to fix something? Let's take a look. Let's take a look. So I'm going to pop over here. I know it's a little small, and I apologize for it, but I don't think I can make it much bigger. Can I? Oh, let me see if I can make it a little bigger. Hold on. Give me a second. I'm going to change my preferences. How do I do that? Give me a second. It's pretty small. I think if I go to displays, how about that? Ah, that's better. Ah, that's a little bigger, right? Better. Okay. So let me just read this out, and let's see how it sounds. This is our first step, okay? Now, I'm using Grammarly here. I'm composing in Grammarly. I would recommend that you do that you write in Grammarly, because it can help you find these small things. So making a friend. Since Denise been too busy as a result of her busy working, she didn't have time to meeting people. She decide to make new friend. And while going out to an event, that is what happens. She met a someone named Linda who have common interesting. Denise and Lydia now meet one time each week for the coffee and catch up, and Denise feel glad to have friend. So I hope that me reading this out loud at least gives you some ideas about what we could start with. Now, you may be asking yourself the question, all right, so the 2 basic tips, use something like Grammarly, read it out loud at the start. Is that all we need to do? How should we actually begin to correct this? Should we start with the big things, like correcting the logic and the ideas, or should we start with the small details, fix the basics, and then look at the big picture? Well, I would say either way could work. It depends on how you think. Let's start with the simple things. Let's start with the simple corrections and see what Grammarly can do to help us, or not do to help us, and then we will take a look at some of the bigger things, okay? So let's just see what Grammarly can help with and how Grammarly helps. I'm going to open up this. Oh, hold on a second. Let me move myself. How do I move myself? Hold on, let me move myself. Let me move myself over here. Okay, better. All right, so here we go. Grammarly is suggesting that we change working to work as the result of her busy work. Okay, so let's do that. Make it go away. But let's think about it. Does that actually make sense? Has been busy as a result of her busy work. Well, okay, we have an issue here. Busy, busy, two busies in one sentence. That's a problem. But at least it's technically correct now. Okay. Didn't have time to meeting people. What do we want to do here? To meet people? Didn't have time to meet people. All right, well, that is an improvement. Okay. Now, we're not fixing everything here. We still have room for improvement, but that is a basic mistake that is now fixed. She decide to make new friend. What is the correction here? She decides. All right, now we've got a problem because it looks like this could be in the present perfect tense, or it could be in the past tense. She didn't have time is in the past. So this one might be a little bit of a problem, but let's just fix it as Grammarly suggests and then go from there. She decides to make new friend. To make, it's suggesting we use a new friend. Okay, so could we use a new friend or new friends? Well, let's just take Grammarly's suggestion and see what happens. Now Grammarly is suggesting that we remove the space before the period. So we'll click on that. That definitely looks better. Punctuation. Punctuation is one of the biggest issues, right? Okay, let's keep going. The THJAT, well, that's a big spelling issue. That's an easy one to fix. Fixed. She met a someone. A someone, huh? So it's suggesting that we remove the there, so we'll do that. Now it says who have common interesting. We have someone name. Okay, someone named Lydia. Okay, all right. Who have common interesting. Who have common interesting. Oh, it's suggesting that we just spell it differently. Okay, well, let's see what happens here. Now we have another issue. Who have common interesting. Okay, who has common, and now it's suggesting that we use, the suspense is killing me. Interest. Okay, but now it's suggesting we change this. It's like keeps going, getting deeper. I'm just taking all the suggestions. I'm not saying all these are right. I'm just taking the suggestions. Denise and Lydia now meet one time each week for coffee and catch up. And Denise feels, right? Because feels does agree with Denise. Glad to have a friend. Okay, so now we've made all the bad red go away. So let's just read it and see if it sounds better, worse, or the same, natural, what? Since Denise has been busy as a result of her busy work, she didn't have time to meet people. She decides to make a new friend. And while going out to an event, that is what happens. She met someone named Lydia who has a common interest. Denise and Lydia now meet one time each week for the coffee and catch up, and Denise feels glad to have a friend. All right, is it better? Yes, it's better. We've removed some of the mistakes. Are there problems? Yes, there are problems. All right, so now we go in and we look at what we can do to make this more coherent. What are the big issues when we go through this? Well, there's definitely a tense issue, right? Because we say she didn't have time, she decides, while going out, that is what happens, then she met someone. So met is in the past, but decides and make, that's in the present. So it's a little confusing, right? So what should we do here? Well, let's just decide what we're going to do. Let's go from the start. Since Denise been too busy. Since Denise, we have to now add has been, and I'm going to put instead of to, so busy. Since Denise has been so busy as a result of her busy schedule or her busy work. Now that doesn't sound right because we have two busies. Due to, I'm going to use due to, okay? Because I want to change it up a little bit. Due to her hectic, I'm going to use a synonym there. So one thing you can do, first go through and make sure the tenses agree, right? You want to make sure the tenses agree. But also, you want to make sure that you're not using the same word too many times. So let's try to use hectic. It's similar to busy, but it's different, and so we have better syntax. Her hectic schedule. Her hectic schedule. Since Denise has been so busy due to her hectic schedule, she didn't have time to meet people. Now, has been so busy is suggesting we are talking about the present, right? So recently, right, until the present, it's continuing now. So maybe we should change she didn't have time to meet people. So she hasn't. Instead of this one, we're talking about recently, hasn't had time to meet people. Now, meet people is okay. Personally, I think it would be better to say socialize. To socialize much. Now let's look at our first sentence. Since Denise has been so busy due to her hectic schedule, she hasn't had time to socialize much. This is the part of the sentence that gives us context, that tells us something about the background information, and this is the main thing we want to talk about. Denise, we could make a new sentence. Denise hasn't had time to socialize much. That could be our sentence. But we use the since part to give it a little more context and background. Since Denise has been so busy, due to her hectic schedule, she hasn't had time to socialize much. Okay. She decides to make a new friend. But we've used the present perfect tense, okay? So we could use past or we could use present perfect. Let's use recently, because that could happen in the past. She recently decided to try to make new friends. And I'm going to put friends here because who wants to just make one friend? I'm going to make a friend. It's very creepy. Now you are my friend and we are friends and I don't need any more friends because I chose you. You are my friend. That's very scary. So she recently decided to try to make new friends. Now you might say to try to make. Is that? No, it's okay. It's okay. She recently decided to try to make new friends. And while going out to an event, let's just start. Why do we have to say going out to an event? Because if you go out to an event, then you're at the event, right? So why don't we just say at an event, and let's give it a time. At an event, a few months ago, and let's say at an event last month. That is what happened. She met someone named Lydia. So here is an issue is if we were going to keep this, we would have to start a new sentence. That is what happens. This is weird. Don't be afraid to delete stuff. Let's just delete this. At an event last month, she met someone named Lydia who has a common interest. Okay. Now, could we replace this with anything? Who has a common interest? Someone. No. How about this? Why don't we put with here? Someone with common interests, because it's more than one, right? We say common interest. We don't say a common interest. You're my friend because we have a common interest. Only one, but it's enough. And that's why you are my friend. Very creepy. All right. At an event last month, she met someone with common interests named Lydia. Okay. And we could say she met someone named Lydia who had common interests. But this is okay. She met someone with common interests named Lydia. She met someone with common... Yeah. We could make it better. I'm going to keep moving. We could go back and improve it, but I'm going to keep moving. This is a pass. I like to do the pass system. So I go through once, then maybe I go through again, and I go through again. Each time it gets a little bit better, right? So if you spend 5 hours on it, it gets really good. Denise and Lydia now meet one time each week for coffee and catch up. Okay, now meet one time. We usually say once a week. Now meet once a week. Once a week for coffee to catch up. To catch up. So the reason they meet is to catch up, and what they do is coffee. They have coffee. Okay? Denise and Lydia now meet once a week for coffee to catch up. And you could say, Denise and Lydia now catch up once a week over coffee. Well, now meet once a week. How about this? To catch up over coffee. Ooh, I like that better. Denise and Lydia now meet once a week to catch up over coffee. Over means we share that. That's the thing that we have together. Denise feels glad to have a friend. Okay, that's a little cheesy, but let's make a new sentence there and keep it. All right, now let's read through it. Since Denise has been so busy due to her hectic schedule, she hasn't had let's put much here. Much time to socialize. All right, this is better. Since Denise has been so busy due to her hectic schedule, she hasn't had much time to socialize. She recently decided to try to make new friends. She recently decided to, let's say, this is fine, right? We don't need all that to try to, right? We'll just make new friends. She recently decided to make some new friends. I like that better. That's better, right? Now notice I'm just playing with this, right? So when I look at writing, when I improve my own writing or someone else's, for me, it's very playful. One thing that's very important is to recognize there isn't one way to say something. There are infinite variations. Just play around. That's what I'm doing here. I'm just playing around. She recently decided to make some new friends. Okay, that's what she decided to do. It's her intention. So she decided that, so we don't have to try to do that because she's deciding it. It's her intention. At an event last month, she met someone with common interests named Lydia. She met someone named Lydia. Well, here's where we could add something about Lydia. She met an anthropologist. Oops, yeah, we should, yeah. Anthropologist named Lydia. And they soon found... let's see here. All right, how can we make this better? At an event last month, she met an anthropologist named Lydia. And they hit it off. Oh, that's an expression we could use. Hit it off means they get along well, but that suggests that they have a lot of common interests, right? To hit it off suggests that there are things shared. We get along well because we have things shared. So I actually like that better. Yeah, that's better. At an event last month, she met an anthropologist named Lydia, and they hit it off. She met an anthropologist. Yeah, okay. I like that. Denise and Lydia now meet once a week to catch up over coffee. Denise feels glad to have a friend. Again, I feel like that's cheesy, but it's okay. So let me just read the whole thing. And again, we can spend more time on this. We could do more variations. For the sake of time, we'll just stop it here. But we've gone from bad, really bad, to, yeah, not too bad, and we could keep working on it. And I would encourage you to take this and do your own version of it. All right, I'll put it in the comments or in the description. Since Denise has been so busy due to her hectic schedule, she hasn't had much time to socialize. She recently decided to make some new friends. At an event last month, she met an anthropologist named Lydia, and they hit it off. Denise and Lydia now meet once a week to catch up over coffee. Denise feels glad to have a friend. All right. This is definitely looking much better. So, what can we say about this? I think we can say that there are ways to correct your own writing if you have the right attitude and you use the right methods. Now, whether you start from the big picture, logical, does it fit together, or the small details, I don't think matters so much. Whatever you feel comfortable with. What's important is that you become aware of these small issues and are able to recognize that they're there, and you're careful enough to fix them. A lot of this stuff is simple, tense disagreement, things like that that you probably were able to pick out if you were looking at someone else's writing. But when we look at our own, we don't see it. You have to be very careful, right? Use a tool like Grammarly to catch these small mistakes. But the question is, can Grammarly fix everything? Can Grammarly notice everything? No. No. Grammarly is not that smart. It can't look at your whole paragraph and say, you know what, I think that this is not so clear, or hey, that's a weird word to use. Usually not, right? Usually not. Maybe in 10 years we'll have something like that, but not yet. So you have to use that to correct the simple things and then spend time on getting it really tight, clean, logical, right? So that it looks nice, so that it flows, so that you didn't repeat too many words, that sort of thing. So you still have to use your brain and your knowledge, but with a combination of being careful, having an attitude of playfulness, being willing to go through it several times and just play around with it until it sounds good, having an attitude of being careful so that when you write something, other people see you as serious and professional. This will take your writing from this level to this level at your current level of knowledge. I'm not saying you need to learn more stuff. I'm saying all you need to do is be more careful and have the right approach and attitude, use the methods that we talked about, use Grammarly, and you will be better. It's not that hard. And I think if you write every day, if you practice every day, you will get much, much better. So I will leave the example that we looked at in the description, and I want you to play around with it, come up with your own version, do variations, make it different from mine, but close enough. And I'm curious to see what you come up with. And then every day, practice your writing, because working on your writing can also improve your speaking. It improves your ability to think in the language because you have to be creative. You have to play. Very important. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. That would be great. Don't forget to subscribe, and also check out my full English courses. They're on sale in the links in the description. All right. Now, I see we have quite a lot of comments here. So let me just review some of these, and I apologize for not getting to them before. We have, looks like, a lot of comments from Lolly Lolly, Nectar Sweet, Minati. What do we have here? The former president. Oh, that's a excuse me. We'll get back to that. Nectar Sweet says, work, meet, decided, a new friend that someone has interested is a friend. Interesting is a friend. Interested is a friend, right? Shared interests is the common phrase that we would use. Yeah. To make new friends. Interests, exactly. Interest will be correct. Oh, yeah, you got it. Good. Yes, yes. Let everything be in the past tense is one way we could do it. Again, that would be a variation. We could say, okay, well, let's put everything in the past tense and see what happens. Then what would we do? We would say, since Denise had been so busy due to her hectic schedule, she hadn't had much time to socialize. She decided to make some new friends, and an event last month met. Okay, so we could say that. We could do it that way if we wanted to. Hit it off. They have something to be shared. Yes, and they get along well. So hit it off is kind of because they have something that's shared, they get along well. It's sort of like get along well immediately. Have you ever met someone and, well, you might meet one person and you think, oh, yeah, I don't want to be around that person anymore, right? For whatever reason, even if they're a perfectly nice person, and you meet other people and you have a lot of things to talk about. You have a natural connection, and that's usually because you have shared interests, maybe something similar in your personality, many things in common, and then it feels natural to be around that person and to talk to that person, right? So that would be something like hit it off, usually at the start of a friendship. We really hit it off would be a common expression. Okay. All right. Well, I think I can answer maybe one more question. Hopefully that was interesting enough. I like doing the writing practice. I think it's quite fun. Okay, Lolly Lolly says the former president or the France of France. Can I say the ex-president of France with the same meaning? Yes, you can. Ex-president, absolutely. 100%. Jesus says, what could be a good way to teach English to children who speak Spanish? Yes, so I'm not sure if there's anything specific about Spanish, but you have to get them in a context or a situation where they can speak a lot, right? If they're just reading and learning written English, then they're only going to be able to write English and read English. You have to get them in a situation where they're watching cartoons and talking with other kids in English, make it a very lively and dynamic atmosphere, and they'll get better faster. Children are natural language learners, and I don't think there's anything specifically about, at least that I know, about learning from Spanish, but you want to start kids learning as early as possible because kids are natural language learners. They're language learning machines because they don't have anything else to do. They don't have jobs. They don't have responsibilities. They don't have to cook meals. They don't have to walk the dog. They just sit there. They have nothing to do except learn languages. And their brains are different. But they have many advantages. Koshik says, I just find you right now. I was searching for vocabulary channels. I'm likely to open some same niche channel. Can you suggest me any advice before starting? Koshik, if you're starting a channel, a YouTube channel, you're going to be a YouTuber. I guess, well, personally speaking, if you want to do something that's sustainable, that you don't just do 1 week and then stop, it has to be something that you enjoy. If you hate it and you're only doing it because you think, oh, this might get a lot of views, but I don't like it, then don't do it because you're going to give up or you won't be happy. So I would say consider your happiness, and it has to be something that fits into your current lifestyle. If it doesn't fit into your current lifestyle, I wouldn't recommend it, right? So find a way so that it's organic in your lifestyle, and that it doesn't cause you stress and pain, or at least not much. A little stress and pain is good, right? But not too much, not too much. That's my main recommendation. But good luck. Jeet says, Luke, could you explain the commentator and commenter? A commentator would be someone who's maybe speaking over something, a video, and they would say, and now they're walking, let's say it's a sports commentator. Now they're walking into the arena, and 28 pounds, 98 pounds, 128 pounds. They're talking about maybe the fighters' weights. Or maybe this team has a 26-0 record against. They're giving information to the audience who's listening on the radio or watching on TV over the event, right? Over the thing that we're looking at or we're listening to. So a thing happened, and another person is giving their spoken comments about it. Now, a commenter is just a person who writes a comment. For example, on YouTube, they just. I'm a commenter. They commented. So they're not doing a role. They don't have a job. The commentator has a job. Every week they do that. So that's really the difference. It's a big difference between them, actually. You're a commenter, Jeet, because you just left a comment. You're a commenter, but you're not a commentator. If the live stream were somewhere and you were talking over it, explaining, oh, this is why Luke wears a black shirt because he's depressed and he's mourning, then you'd be a commentator. If that's what you did every week. Not a bad idea. You probably won't get many views, though. Any tips for the right use of make or do words? That's a pretty big one. You'd have to make that a little more specific for me to answer. I don't know if I can give a great answer to that question because it's so broad. I would ask you to maybe make it a little more specific with a few examples of what you struggle with, because make and do can be used in so many different ways. Yeah. All right, guys. I think I'm going to call it a day. But I appreciate all the questions. I really do. Thanks for popping in your questions as well during the writing section. It hopefully is useful. I encourage you to practice writing every day. It's a very important part of your English learning, your English development. It's shocking to me how bad people's writing is when it doesn't have to be bad, because all you have to do is be careful and make it much, much better. So work on it, practice it, and you'll get better. You will get better. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. See you next time, probably early next week. Make sure you're subscribed so that you can see when the next live streams come out. Just posted a video today about prepositions, so check that out. And don't forget to hit the like button. I would appreciate that. Very important. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is a big deal. It really helps if you can hit that button. Small thing for you, big thing for me. And also, if you haven't already, please do check out my full courses in the links in the description. They are on sale. You can get them on sale, so check those out. Full English courses to improve your ability to think in English, your writing, your grammar, your pronunciation, and more. All right, guys, take it easy. See you next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.